we have a Boy Scout, or you going to do it?
Okay, please come to order. The regular meeting of the Ascension Parish Council, December 13th, 2018. Please stand for the opening prayer by, let's do Councilman Randy Cluott, and then I'd like to ask the Sheriff Wiley to lead us in the pledge. He's busy hugging grandchildren right now, but would you mind leading us in the pledge after the prayer?
Yes, sir. In the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Dear Lord, we thank you for this day. Lord, we thank you for the blessings and being citizens of this parish and these neighborhoods and this great communities that we have. Lord, it's with special blessings that we ask that you look upon all the people that take care of us day and night, including the people in law enforcement and fire. And Lord, it's with very, very humble means that tonight we're going to honor one of our greatest folks in law enforcement that we've had within our lifetime. We ask that you look upon him and his family and take care of them, and that he has a beautiful and very fruitful life past. We ask this in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Please join with me. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, roll call. Looks like we have Councilman Turner, the only person not here tonight. There are no chair additions tonight. Public comment period. If you'd like to comment on an item, please come to the podium and pick up a card and turn that in to the secretary, and you'll have 3 minutes. Presentations tonight. Mr. Matassa.
So I want to call up Sheriff Wiley and his family. Come up too. Okay. You know, the kids graduating from college today, they only knew one sheriff in their lifetime, Sheriff Wiley. But tonight we proclaim that Jeffrey F. Wiley was born January 1st, 1951 in Refugio, sound like Italian, Texas. The third of 5 children to Jack and Viola Johnson Wiley, Whereas Jeff Wiley graduated from East Ascension High School in 1969. You know, that famous class of 69.
The class.
And from Southeastern Louisiana University in 1974 with a bachelor's degree in education. And whereas Jeff Wiley served his country honorably in the United States Marine Corps in 1970 to 1974. He attended advanced military police training at Fort Gordon, Georgia, and graduated from numerous other military schools, including the Non-Commissioned Officers Leadership School at Parish Island, South Carolina. And whereas Jeff Wiley married Linda Wagsback on July 7th, 1973, and together they have 2 daughters, Sarah Wiley Rosselli, who married to Shane Rosselli, and Aaron Wiley Lanou, who is married to Jay Lanou, and 5 grandchildren, Sophie and Scott Rosselli, and Abby and Audrey and Alex Lanou. Whereas Jeff Wiley began his career with the Ascension Parish Sheriff's Office as a patrol officer in 1974 and was promoted to Detective Division in 1975, specializing in juvenile justice, where he organized several key initiatives such as the Junior Deputy Program and the Sheriff's Youth Adult League. And whereas Jeff Wiley transferred to Ascension Parish School Board in 1980 as a coordinator of student services and several innovative programs such as substance abuse education program and placement of substance abuse counselors into the schools. And whereas Jeff Wiley was summoned back to the Ascension Parish Sheriff's Office in 1988 by Sheriff Harold Tritico and appointed Chief Criminal Deputy. During his tenure, he helped guide the department through the unprecedented population growth in Ascension Parish and has experienced, he spearheaded the creation of the department's first full-time narcotics division and the drug abuse resistance education DARE program. And whereas Jeff Wiley was elected sheriff and took office July 1st, 1996, he was reelected 5 times, each time with an overwhelming percentage of the vote with no opposition at all. And whereas Jeff Wiley has received numerous awards, accolades, honors, and distinctions, he has been recognized by multiple communities, civic, governmental, and law enforcement groups in this community, parish, state, and national. It is largely through his efforts that then presidential candidate Donald Trump came to Ascension Parish, and whereas after nearly 5 decades of service, 6-term Sheriff Jeff Wiley has decided to hang up his guns and badge and retire at the end of the year. He allowed the next so he can let the next generation to step up and carry on his traditions. Now, therefore, I, Kenny Matassa, President of the Parish of Ascension, State of Louisiana, by virtue of authority vested in me, do hereby proclaim December 31st, 2018 as Jeff F. Wiley Day, and thank him for his dedication and lifetime service to the people of Ascension Parish.
Thank you so much, and as you can see, to my left and to your right is the heartbeat of our family. My wife of a few years, and our 2 daughters and son-in-laws, and those 5 head of grandbabies that are just our lives, and gives me a continued sense of purpose as I move on to another chapter of my life. I do want to apologize to the people in the audience who may have a curfew that long. It took me as long to write it as it took him to read it, okay? I want to tell this board that all of you I count as personal friends. And in many ways, the sheriff's office and the sheriff is joined business-wise with you, occasionally politically, but always business-wise, as it has to do with public buildings and courthouses and jails and those kinds of things. This board, Mr. Chairman and Mr. President and ladies and gentlemen, has never said no. This board has never hesitated on the things that we needed to do our job and together and better serve the public in the lane that I travel in. I want to thank you for that, and I mean it very earnestly. The other thing I would like to tell you as leaders and this audience as concerned citizen and leaders is that your sheriff's office will continue in the best shape and in the best character and ethics of leadership and of professionalism. And you all know the heir apparent who will assume the sheriff's mantle January 3rd, Bobby Weber, and surrounded by him are many of his soon-to-be mandated command staff with the sheriff's office. I am proud of what we've done together. And if there's anybody in this room who thought for half a minute that I might have been a pretty good sheriff at one time, I did it off the backs of those men and women and those 340 or so sheriff's deputies that go out there and do the things they do and understand that service is our obligation. There's a lot of things we have to do more specific in law enforcement, but fundamentally, we lead by example, we lead by service, and we lead trying to do the right thing at all times. So, I leave you in good hands, that your Ascension Parish Sheriff's Office, APSO, and I leave Bobby Weber and your department in the best of financial shape, I'm proud to say. So if they mess it up, that's on them, okay? All right? But I do salute them, and I want to publicly thank them. There are, yeah. Yeah, thank you. There are decades of service in the APSO sitting right there. So this will be seamless, and I have every expectation it will be improved. So thanks again for this great night, and for me, and a good excuse for Kenny. Thank you. You've been such a good friend for so many years. I will remind some of you and enlighten some of you that Kenny's wife, Selma, was a detective secretary, and pretty much, you know, second in command here. All right, we felt like that back in my early days with Paul and others that have been here for so long. So we do have a great history together. I value what you did tonight to at least maybe make me look good in front of my grandbabies just a little bit. Okay, got it? So that said, thank you very much, and have a blessed and holy and Merry Christmas, and God bless all of you, and thanks for the ride. I appreciate it.
Y'all want to get...
I would like to get the family, Jeff and Linda, if y'all would line up in front with the president, and we want to get the family and the standing around.
Thank you. Tighten up. You put the tall ones on the back, short ones on the front.
We're okay up here. I think so.
Normally we say just the good-looking people in the front, but they all good-looking, Sheriff. How'd you do that? Okay, would you go over by him? I know, I mean, I hate to do that to you, but and we're going to take a few, so you're going to have to smile, smile. Got him, Allison? Yep. Mine are good, too. Thank you very much. Thank you, Sheriff, for your service.
Appreciate all this. Thank you. Again, thank you for your remarks.
That's right. This one's mine.
Joe, please.
Musical chairs.
Aaron.
Hey, Aaron. He doing good. Good. Yeah.
I'm glad you found. I was worried about that.
It's
Also today, I did a certificate of recognition this morning at the Senior Citizens Capital Area Agency on Aging. Celebrated 45 years today of service to the senior citizens of Ascension Parish. But when the lady was giving her speech up there, she told us that in Ascension it started 2 years earlier. In Donaldsonville it started 47 years ago today. And they started in the Lemon Center, and then got it over here. So, but I just want to recognize the two board members, Mr. Dempsey Lambert and Mr. Cluat, Randy Cluat. Would y'all please stand and we give y'all some recognition for this? They go to all the meetings and they work together with them, and Ms. Darlene does a great service. Okay, so now I got to, okay, that's all I got in the presentations, but under my report,
Oh, okay.
I want to call up Rick Weber to give a report on the service center, and then I have one more.
Mr. Chairman, members of the council, I realize your agenda's full, so I'm going to cut this presentation about in half because I know you got a lot to cover tonight. But in April, my office was tasked with developing a call center, but what we've done is we've developed much more than a call center. It's a citizen service center. And as I go through this briefing, you'll see what I'm talking about. In April, none of the systems that you see existed, but the CSC is going live in January 2nd, because I told you back in April we would go live in January, and we will. All departments have been trained on the customer service center, and the data that you're going to see on this system is test data from the training that we've done. So what it was designed to do is to improve the citizen-initiated contacting with Ascension Parish government. Because citizen-initiated contacting is usually motivated by the need for a service from Ascension Parish government, but the challenge is that most residents don't understand the structure of parish government. They don't keep up with moves in personnel. They don't keep up with points of contact information. So it makes it very difficult. And once contact is made by a resident, they normally get bounced around from department to department until in an effort to try to find the service that they're looking for. And it makes it very frustrating, but what it does, it causes all of you, all the members of the council, it causes the administration to become brokers for services offered by parish government, because they don't know how to contact them, or they don't know how the parish is formed. So it makes it very difficult for them to do that. And then the directors and managers are charged to do this, but to defend my peers, they need to know, one, that the request for service existed in the first place, and they need some kind of confidence in a system to track this thing through its life cycle. Now, the two primary objectives of the Citizen Service Center, one was to bring ease of access to parish government to our residents, and then two, increase the accountability of interaction. I just want to emphasize the accountability of interaction, not the accountability of work. They do the work. The accountability of interaction between parish government employees and the citizens. If we can do that, that was the weakness that we saw, and we want to alleviate that weakness. We can do this by accomplishing two objectives. One is that we can combine over 300 parish government telephone calls into one. It's got the potential to do that, and we have the software, and we have the trained personnel within the call center to direct those calls where we need to go. Two, it creates a digital front door to the parish. So all parish residents can go to one location, and they can put in work orders either by through access online, by telephone, or in person if needed. Sharika, we're gonna skip the back of the house. This is where I'm going to shorten the presentation up. I'm not going to show you how the sausage is made, how the call center is put in the work orders itself. I'm going to take you straight to the portal where the residents go to track their work order. So if you can pull that map up for me. If you look at the screen now, I'm going to give you just a quick overview of its structure. The map that you see in the center of it, all that data, this map was created by our IT section. I mean, South Central Planning did the backside of this thing, the database. I can't thank Brian Martinez and Brandon enough for what they've done. It did excellent tool. The center of the map is all geocoded off the work orders that the call center operators put in, or when the departments put their work orders in. It's geocoded there, so it's very important to verify the address. So the center of the map is all the work orders that are there. Moving to the left a little bit, that column that you see, the 157 at the top, that's the total number of work orders that are in the system. And in the bottom is some statistics on which ones were assigned, what's in progress, what's been planned, do we need anything. That's just quick stats. And then to the left are the icons for either a service category or for a department. So that's the basic structure of it. So if a resident has a work order in place, or they want to put one in place, all they have to do is call that number in the upper right-hand portion of the screen beginning in January, and a service center operator will put a work order in for them and issue them a work order at that time. Or they can go to the upper left-hand portion of the screen, click on that, they can create an account, and 24 hours a day they can put a work order, or they can put a request in online from that. So back up, Sharika. All right, so once they create one online, it goes to that center section where it says request in queue. That lets the call center operators know that you have an online request in the queue that needs attention and a work order needs to be created. So if we issue the work order at the point when they call in, we issue them a work order and they want to track it through its life cycle, they go to search. 1236, I believe, Sharika, put that one in, and search. It pops up in the screen. Again, all of this data comes directly from the back of the house system that South Central Planning created for us. Very robust system. I tried to break it. I can't break it. It seems to continue to work. So it looks like it's a really good, dependable system. But that's the critical data that the resident would need to follow that work order through. When it was created, what was the last steps that were taken, and the last time somebody looked at it. Close that out. If you have a resident that calls you and says, I put in 10, 20 work orders on this one problem, go to Caesar. Eureka. All right, if you put in this road and you click on the icon, this one has 22 work orders assigned to this one address. So you can cycle through all the work orders that are there, so you can see exactly what's going on. And hopefully this system alleviates that. Close that out, Sharika. If you want to look at what's happening within your council district on this without going to the back of the house system, you can do it on the back of the house system. I'll come back in January to brief you on that if you want me to. Pull up the filter for me if you could, Sharika. Expand that, and then go to council district, and then pull up District 1. Pull up any of the work orders. Okay, go to Zoom 2. One more time. There you go. So this is actually pulling Esri data that you can look at it. So whatever resident called in, you can go directly to the resident that was there. You can read the notes, so if you need to give them a call, or if you need to give us a call to give you the data, we can. Back out of that and go to the map. All right, so this is where we stand. Again, this is the digital front door to the parish. It'll let us direct telephone calls to where it needs to go. It can let us put work orders in, and we've trained the entire parish government, all departments. None of them opted out of this thing. It's been driven from you. It's been driven from the administration. This is the tool moving forward. Now, we've got some future phases on this thing. One, GPS. The company that we're dealing with has GPS, so we're looking at other companies also, but they have a piece that can plug into this thing that we can actually watch the vehicles move across the screen as they're doing the work. I also made sure that when we developed one of the consoles that we put radios at every call center console. So if we needed to talk to a crew out in the field, we can talk directly to them by radio while we're looking at them. The other phase is going to be when we move into the workflow systems, when we start designing workflows for every department, whether it's public works, drainage, DPW, that's a little further into the future. So we start tracking equipment, labor, and materials. So that's where we're moving with it. And then you'll see a big public outreach piece starting Monday on the customer service center, getting it out to the public, and if you can help us advertise this, we definitely would. So, but I do want to thank IT, Brian Martinez, Brandon O'Day, fantastic job. I couldn't have done it without them, so I do appreciate that. So other than being subject to your questions, this concludes the overview.
Mr. Cluott.
Rick, I don't know how to say the administration, the IT department, but you and your staff, how much this means to us that as we represent people and the ability for people to get an answer. You made a statement earlier, and it's been going on for 100 years, that people call in a work order and they don't get feedback.
Right.
And it's not necessarily any of the department's fault. It's just they're not built for feedback right now.
Right.
But soon as that, then they call a council member. And so we're staying on the phone. We're beating up the administration. If we got the number for the guy in that department, hell, we call in that department. You know what I mean? And it's kind of like trying to jump things ahead of one job ahead of the other. Right. But this is great, and this is what we were looking for when you first talked about it. And so what you showed tonight, if it works like that, and the people can access it like that, this is going to be so wonderful. And take this opportunity to thank my fellow council members for everybody who supported this. And, it wasn't cheap, it wasn't free. Mm-hmm. And we're going to have to keep up with it and update it. So it's an ongoing thing. But those CMMS maintenance softwares are cheap, and this is great.
It is.
I wish I had that in my plant where I could click a pump and it just goes GPS right to it. You know what I mean? We're not there yet.
And again, if any of you want individual briefings on this, we'll be more than happy to do so. We can give you accounts to get into the back of the house system that you didn't see tonight.
I just want to close with thanking your staff and the other 1,000 jobs that you guys do.
If you don't mind, I'd like to bring them up behind me. Rachel Wilkinson, Arlene, Sharika, come up from behind the curtain back there like the eyes. I got you working the computer, so come on out here with me.
We'd like to have a Merry Christmas to you guys.
Oh, we got Councilman Satterley.
Yes, Rick. Like Randy said, just absolutely wonderful. This is a stunning achievement, and I'm appreciative to everyone that's been involved in itself, in the effort, yourself included, sir. I'm just curious, and always in terms of trying to educate the public that we serve, that what you call digital front door for Ascension Parish,
was a snapshot. Was that a snapshot of any given day or?
No, that was the actual live system. I took a chance running a live system.
Like yesterday, a week ago? Or?
Yeah, when was the last training that was conducted? Tuesday? Tuesday.
Because here's the point I'd like to make, so it's not really a question, but in lieu of the 1 mil property tax that just passed for the animal control and animal shelter services that Ascension Parish provides to our citizens, I noticed on that digital front door page, there were 6, I'll call them dog icons. Look kind of like schnauzers or maybe poodles, I'm not sure.
Tell you what breed they are.
What the choice was. But equally as important to me, 2 of them were in District 4. So am I correct in interpreting that, sir, that snapshot on that one given moment on that day, we recognize that there are 6 geographically located by GPS animal control calls in the system?
Yes. When they called in, I have a stray animal that's here at this location. They key in the address, they verify it.
So for those guys that are still pounding me on my Facebook site about the tax, I want you to consider that. Thank you, Rick.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions? Thank you, Rick. I too, I want to reiterate what Randy and Doc said. It's going to be a great thing for the citizens, and it's going to be good for us in that we can spend more time, doing these things, our other things. I'd like to ask, Oliver can give him in, but I'd also like to consider maybe doing some short training for the council in 4 or 5 member groups.
Absolutely.
I'm sending you an email on that right now. I'm asking for that.
Councilman Joseph.
And Rick, and we also going to put this on 21 so we can educate the public on how this is going to work, correct?
Well, we're doing a pretty massive public outreach. Starting Monday, it's going to be social media, Facebook, Channel 21. We're doing videos. We're actually going to have a YouTube video that can educate the public on how to go and put in the work order.
Awesome.
Great idea.
Great job.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Dawson.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Dawson. Just real quick, one thing that you did ask for initially was to be able to tie this to actually a cost factor of what a work order will cost. One reason why we went this way is to be able to make sure that all of the programs communicated with each other in the new Munis system that is on board. So it's going to move toward being able to do exactly what initially the way it started, work orders being done, and how much it costs to get it done. So I just want to let you guys know that.
Great progress.
Thank you.
Great job. Merry Christmas.
Okay, Mr. Matassa, got,
Okay, I also have a report from Fire Chief James LeBlanc.
So in the spirit of good news with the sheriff tonight and with Rick Weber's office tonight, I wanted to also, Fire District Number 1 wanted to bring some good news also to the board. Before I do that, I'd like to recognize Cody Reeves, who's also on the board of directors for Fire District Number 1. So as you know, Ascension Parish is blessed to have 5 different Property Insurance Association ratings across the parish. If you live on the West Bank, you beautiful to have the class rating of a 4 by the Property Insurance Association. If you live in Sorrento, you have a 4. If you live in Prairieville, you have a 3. If you're lucky enough to live in the city, you got a beautiful rating of a 2. And if you're really, really lucky to live in the 80% East Bank of Ascension Parish, that's all controlled by nothing but volunteer firemen, you have the luxury of having a rating of a 5 with all volunteers. And I bring this news to you because, the flood hit us in 2016. We were supposed to get rated in 2017. You know that the East Bank, that's controlled by all the volunteers, gets rated every 5 years by Property Insurance Association. When the flood hit us in 16, when they were supposed to come in 17, we asked for an extension till 18. And when Property Insurance Association came and rated Fire District Number 1 in 2018, we're happy to report that we received the letter 2 weeks ago, and 80% of the East Bank of Ascension Parish kept its 5 rating with nothing but volunteers after we went through what we went through with the 2016 flood.
Awesome job.
So I'll entertain any questions you might have for us.
Mr. Johnson.
James, over the last 4 or 5 years, how much of a call volume increase have y'all seen?
So let me just tell you, I hope to roll those numbers out on January 1st, but I can tell you that the volunteers in Ascension Parish on the East Bank have probably in the last 5 years seen anywhere between a 35 to 40% call increase. I can tell you them poor people that live in Galvez, they're responding to at least 11 and 12 calls a day, just the volunteers. So I hope to present y'all with some real good numbers on January 1st when we close out this year. But right now, just the volunteers, if my Facebook post is correct by the people that told me last night, we're well over 6,000 calls just in Fire District Number 1 for 2018 right now. All volunteers.
And I know back 20 years ago, if we ran a couple hundred calls in the outside parts of the parish, that was a lot. And so, I mean, when you're talking, now majority, 80% of those are EMS calls as per the norm, but it's still a lot of volume for strictly volunteers to handle. So we appreciate everything that you guys are doing for us. Spread the word to the rest of the volunteers that they're keeping us safe at night and all the time, and it's greatly appreciated. We don't thank them enough.
Yeah, we continue to be blessed with the almost 200 and something volunteers that we have on the East Bank of the parish. I don't know how long that's going to continue to go. Maybe it'll stay my lifetime, but we continue to be blessed with the volunteers that continue to get up every night after midnight and respond to your house and to your loved ones.
Awesome.
Questions or comments? Thank you, James. I really appreciate it. I
Great
want
job.
to, let's pitch a word there. We do need more volunteers,
The only reason I'm fast tonight is because somebody told me if I went fast that I was going to get a raise.
We'll give you a raise.
So that's why I went fast. Thank y'all.
Councilman Joseph.
Yeah, and Chief, I just want to let you know, we had a major fire at one of the abandoned buildings in Donaldsonville, and that new ladder truck that we bought came in handy because the building was over 3-story big, and it caved the roof caved in, and the fire truck really came in handy. And I want to give the firefighters of the city of Donaldsonville in that area a great job in controlling that fire.
The firefighters in Donaldsonville, even though some of them are paid, you're still blessed to have 30 volunteers on the west bank of the parish. I happened to meet with your fire chief yesterday about where we need to be going emergency-wise, and I'll tell you the statement that your fire chief said yesterday about 4:30, before this big fire took place, and his exact words were, "We can't survive on the west bank without the volunteers." And then all of a sudden last night, boom, you have this major fire that takes place, and that fire is fought most of the night, all night long, with not only your paid people, but volunteers.
Going on right now.
So it was a pretty substantial fire last night in Donaldsonville. Yeah. So look, I'm not going to keep y'all because I know y'all got a full schedule, but we continue to be blessed. So thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Anything else, Mr. Matassa?
That's all. Thank you.
Okay. Item number 7, the consent agenda. Ms. McKee.
Change order number 1 to the master contract between HCM Building and Ascension Parish Government for Hillaryville Park improvements for a deduction of $73,636.76 and an additional 14 days. New contract amount $401,894.38. New completion date April 4th, 2019. Change order number 1 to the master contract between J. Reed Constructors and Ascension Parish Government for the construction of Gosmer Main Station number 80 for a deduction of $218,261. New contract amount $2,744,739. Change order number 1 to the master contract between J. Reed Constructors and Ascension Parish Government for the construction of Sorrento Main Station number 20 for a deduction of $218,261. New contract amount $2,630,039. Resolution to authorize the parish president to waive permit fees resulting from Move Ascension projects. Amendment to professional services contract with Donna Barnes to add to the scope of work and increase the total contract amount of $38,500. Resolution to allow parish employees to carry over vacation hours through January 31st, 2019. Bid items to accept the lowest responsive bid as follows. Washed gravel, expert maintenance and construction services, reinforced concrete pipe and arced pipe, design precast and pipe ink, mosquito control abatement metal building expert maintenance LLC $136,220, oil and grease Roland J. Robert Distributor Inc. 4-inch Godwin Dry prime centrifugal pump, Associated Pump and Supply, $41,225. Model number 110048, 16 by 48 inch, heavy-duty drum grinder, Wagway tool bird, $39,125. Ascension Parish Fire District Number 1, Santa Maria Fire Station Number 20, J. Reed Constructors, $2,717,600. Request for proposal, aerial spraying, mosquito control, vector disease control international. Annual contracts to be renewed for 2019. Acadian Ambulance Service, Access Communications, Ascension Medical Clinic, Ascension Parish Sheriff's Office, BFI, Donna Barnes, City of Gonzales, Comet, Corporate Mechanical, Damian Johnson, Data Keepers, Designs Interactive, Dr. Robert Barnes, Dr. Jason Adams, Excel Software Professional, Prairieville VFD, FD number 3, Resolution Services, River Parishes, Security, Roland J. Robert Distributors, Inc., and Southland Fire. Amendment number 1 to the Professional Services Agreement with GSA Consulting Engineers, Inc., 2018 PUA and ACUD number 1 Drinking Water Infrastructure Improvements Project. Approval of substantial completion of SCADA system upgrades for PUA CWEF FY 2014 through 2015. Renewal of contract with Hartman Engineering, Inc., Utilities General Engineering and Technical Support not to exceed $150,000. Renewal of contract with Buchart Horn, Inc., Utilities General Engineering and Technical Support not to exceed $150,000. Approval to introduce an ordinance for the implementation of Ascension Parish Road Infrastructure Development District's Louisiana Revised Statutes, Section 334690.13. And Chairman wanted me to clarify that this is not an introduction of an ordinance, just an approval to introduce it at the next meeting. Roads to be accepted into the parish maintenance system as follows: Eagles Landing Subdivision, second file in Phase 2B and third file in Phase 3B. Eagles Perch Drive, 1,562 feet. Eagles View Lane, 798 feet. And Soaring Flight Drive, 627 feet.
Okay, please reflect that Councilman Turner is here. Is there any desire by any council person to remove an item from the consent agenda? Mr. Kluart.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to, on item G, bid items, down the list to E, 4-inch Godwin dry prime centrifugal pump. I'd like to remove that.
Okay, any other items I'd like to remove from the consent agenda? Okay, so let's consider the consent agenda without item G.E. Motion. I got a motion by Councilman Cagnotti, second by Councilman Todd Lambert to approve the consent agenda. Any discussion, any questions, any opposition? Hearing none, the consent agenda is adopted. Now we'll move to item G.E. Let me get this, sorry.
You can move it next, sir?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so it'll be under consideration now. 4-inch Godwin dry prime centrifugal pump. Is there someone from purchasing here to, okay. Mr. Daniel.
Not from purchasing. May I answer anyway?
You'll do.
Thank you. So they asked me about this pump the other night, and I just heard centrifugal, and I said, well, that's usually a low-pressure pump. But what this is a pump that we have specially spec'd when we have a pump go down in one of our wet wells. It's to
sewer system.
It's to transfer the sewer to the next wet well while we're repairing the pump and keep the sewer system going at the same time. So that's what this item is for.
Okay, Councilman Kluart.
Yeah, I have some questions on it. So at this time, I'd like to offer up a motion to defer this to the next utility meeting.
Motion, not promotion.
Got a motion by Councilman Kluart, second by Councilman Oliver Joseph. Any questions? Any opposition? Hearing none, that item is referred back to utilities, January meeting. Councilman Joseph.
Because we we're referring it, so, I mean, that dropped the contract. I mean, the bidding process stopped right there, correct?
Yeah.
Bring it up in-
basically the approval process.
You bring it up in
started.
utilities.
We may take another look at it and
All right.
see how they administer.
Okay, committee recommendations, Chairman Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Personnel Committee met on December 5th and interviewed for the Library Board, Fire Protection District Number 1 Board, Zoning Board of Adjustments, and the Tourism Commission. The Personnel Committee would like to recommend the following. We had 3 interviews for Library Board. In the following order, they came out: Ms. Donna Whittington, Ms. Michelle McLeod, and Ms. Dolores Sienu. The committee would recommend Ms. Donna Whittington for appointment.
So moved.
Got a motion by Councilman Todd Lambert, second by Councilwoman Casso to approve. Any discussion, any opposition? Hearing none. Recommendation approved.
Recommendations for a new appointment to Fire District Number 1 is Mr. Michael Sonyat.
A motion by Councilman Cagnolati, second by Councilman Todd Lambert. Any discussion, any opposition? Recommendation approved.
The committee also recommends to reappoint Mr. Cody Reeves.
Motion.
Got a motion by Councilman Cluett, second by Councilman Cagnolati. Any discussion, any opposition? Appointments approved.
We had one interview for an opening on the Zoning Board of Adjustments, Mr. Corey Orgeron.
Motion.
Got a motion by
Second.
Councilman Todd Lambert, second by Councilman Joseph. Any discussion, any opposition? Recommendations approved.
We had 2 openings on the Tourism Commission. Both of them are reappointments. The first one is Mr. Randall Lejeune.
Motion.
Got a motion by Councilman Cagnolati, second by Councilman Todd Lambert to approve the recommendation. Any discussion, any opposition? Appointments approved.
And the second one is Mr. Al Schaff.
Motion.
Got a motion by Councilman Dempsey Lambert, second by Councilman Todd Lambert. Any discussion, any opposition? Appointment is approved.
That concludes my report, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman Johnson. General business, item number 9, approval of cooperative endeavor agreement by and between Road Lighting District Number 6 and the City of Gonzales, whereby Road Lighting District Number 6 agrees to pay for the construction and maintenance of a lighting system for the T.J. Gonzales Park and Road Lighting District Number 6. This was pulled from the August 16th council agenda. Mr. Parrington.
Yes, it was pulled so that we could amend the description of the property, and that introduction of the ordinance is on here now. They asked us if we'd go forward so they can go ahead and order the equipment.
Motion.
Got a motion by Councilman Randy Cluett, second by Councilman Cagnolati. Any questions? Mr. Lawler.
I have a question. I know the last time there was some issue with taxes being collected. They weren't being collected from a group of citizens. Has that been resolved in any way?
That was not an issue because the lot is, the property is actually a public park, so there's no additional taxes collected from there at all.
No, I understand that, not from the park, but it's my understanding that there was an area that was not realized that was part of it.
We corrected and putting in the right, we're going to have the right description in the ordinance.
I think it was unclear at the time.
Yeah, it was unclear. That's
Okay.
just one of my concerns.
I mean, we give the ordinance and then they do the we don't send out the tax bill.
No, I think we need to make sure we have to get with the assessor's office to make sure that they are, we can't have people out there that are supposed to be paying taxes. I mean, nobody wants them, but it's very unfair that some people are paying them and then we have others that may not have been paying them due to an error. We just have to make sure that's rectified.
We'll make sure they get the proper description. We
Okay.
have our IT people are working with the survey to make sure we have a map showing everybody that's in there.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. Further discussion, questions? Any opposition? Hearing none. Motion is adopted. Item number 10, approval of cooperative endeavor agreement between the Parish of Ascension and the City of Donaldsonville to waive permit fees for the construction of the Donaldsonville Fire Department. Mr. Parrington.
Yes. Donaldsonville and Fire District Number 2 have a mutual aid agreement where they serve each other's properties and assist in everything, and the city has asked that we waive our inspection permit fees on the new fire station.
So moved.
Motion by Councilman Joseph, second by Councilman Cagnolati. Any discussion? Any opposition? That motion is adopted. Introduction of ordinances, item number 11, introduction of ordinance to amend the Unified Land Development Code Appendix I-5 Subdivision Regulations, Section 17-405.e, adding language to not allow final plat approvals with contingency.
Motion to introduce.
Got a motion by Councilman Satterley. That ordinance is introduced. Item number 12, introduction of ordinance to amend to amend the Ascension Parish Code of Ordinances, Chapter 19, Roads, Bridges, and Other Public Ways, Article 2, Lighting, Road Lighting District, Section 19-25, Road Lighting District Number 6.
Motion introduced.
Councilman Lawler moves to introduce. Item number 13, introduction of ordinance to amend the Unified Land Development Code Appendix 5, Drainage Section 17-5013, Design Criteria, increasing detention pond capacity from 10 to 25
Motion
years.
introduced.
That ordinance is introduced by Councilman Satterley. Item number 14.
Motion to adjourn.
Second, any opposition?
None.